Tet is the Vietnamese Lunar New Year. Actually, Tet only means festival and it's short for Tet Nguyên Đán, but everyone just uses Tet. We were in Đà Nẵng, Vietnam from January 29th until February 26th, 2026. Tet was on February 17th, 2026, but it gets celebrated for 9 days. It started on February 14th and it lasts until the 22nd. We were prepared. We read that lots of places will be closed during that time. But Da Nang is a very touristic city, so it wasn't bad at all. Yes, the gym we went to was closed for a full 10 days. But I prefer doing my workouts while bodyboarding anyways. Yes, we bought a bodyboard for me, more here in the video, buying a bodyboard in Da Nang, Vietnam. Anyways, other gyms weren't closed a long time and there were lots of restaurants and shops still open during those 9 days of celebration. I guess on the actual day of Tet, most stuff was probably closed. I don't know, because I didn't care. I spent the entire day just in the Airbnb, like I planned to, so I didn't go outside. If you hear something in the background, that is the dishwasher I'm running. So anyways, but on Sunday, February 15th, 2 days earlier, we did something very touristic. So every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 2100, 9 p.m., there's the fire and water show at the Dragon Bridge. But during those 9 days of Tet, it was held every evening. So that's where we went. Of course, the place was crowded. So at 9, the dragon spat fire. Honestly, I was disappointed. I expected it to fully blast, full on fire, like really super cool, but there were just some little puffs of fire. I mean, it was still cool and we could feel the heat. The people standing up there must have felt the heat much more than we did. Yeah, they probably would get fried if the dragon would have really spat fire full on. But then the water was cool. I knew there was a fire show and after that a water show. I knew the dragon would spit fire, but I thought the water show was in the water. But no, the dragon actually spit water and full on. The people up there actually got wet and they backed off. So the water was so much cooler than the fire. Once even Paul and I, standing down there, could feel it misting from the dragon spitting water. The water was really, really cool. And the dragon is lit up at night and once in a while it changes color. I tried to film that as well. There were also many displays for Tet all around that place where we stood to watch the fire and water show. Yeah, basically, since we arrived in Da Nang, Vietnam on January 29th, we've seen displays for Tet everywhere around town. Also yellow flowers. I thought that must be for Tet as well. I looked it up and yes, yellow apricot blossoms are quintessential for Tet and represent wealth, prosperity, and hope for the new year. But the yellow flowers we've seen everywhere were definitely not apricot blossoms. I think we've seen those too, but much more of the others. I think they were chrysanthemum, I don't know how to pronounce it, chrysanthemum, I don't know, something like that. And we've also seen others. Lots of people go home to be with their families for Tet, giving lucky money in those red envelopes. They pay respects to their ancestors. They also place offerings for the gods and deities. At the gym, we saw an altar as well. Luckily, a man there burned incenses right at the end of my workout. Of course, I didn't want to be disrespectful, but the smell of incenses is one of the worst smells for me, or scents, however you want to call it, scent smells. It's one of the worst for me to endure. It actually makes me physically nauseous and giving me a headache. On the day of Tet, I smelled it also in our Airbnb, the incense, from outside. But luckily, that was really the only time I could smell incenses in our Airbnb, and it was only for a short time. So it was okay. Yeah. My problem, I'm super sensitive to scents and smells, and incenses, unfortunately, is one of the absolute worst, like perfumes. Another tradition is cleaning. Before Tet, everything gets deep cleaned. We could totally see that, especially on February 16th, basically on New Year's Eve. The garbage truck plays a tune you can hear from far away. And we heard the truck, not constantly, but during the entire day and night from somewhere. Yeah, we also saw it once. We went shopping on February 18th, 2026, one day after Tet, to Mega. Online, I found the opening hours during the holidays, so we knew it was open until 1500, 3 p.m. That store was actually only closed during the actual day of Tet. So we got to Mega around 12:40, and there weren't many people there. It looked so empty. I was worried that I wouldn't find what I was looking for. Lots of the fresh food shelves were empty. The fresh seafood section was almost completely empty, but they did have the jellyfish I so wanted. Yes. They also had ground pork that we never saw before at Mega. We went to Mega 2 times before we went on the day after Tet. And then those 2 times we never saw ground pork. So I think people just buy all of it very fast. So that was super cool. So we were able to buy ground pork at the day after Tet. So we were able to buy everything we needed. Oh, during those 9 days of Tet, especially the day after Tet, we had to wait a bit longer to get a Grab driver than usual, but not super long. Da Nang is very touristic, so there's no problem getting a Grab, but we really saw that we had to wait a bit longer for the Grab to pick us up. We didn't plan being in Vietnam during Tet. It was totally a coincidence. I'm not a fan of big crowds, loud festivals and such things, but we weren't staying where it was very touristic. And as mentioned before, the night before Tet and the day during Tet, I just spent at home in an Airbnb. So it was actually really nice being there during that festival and see all those decorations. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay decorated.